Welcome to the Unearthed Man podcast, the journey of becoming a conscious man, hosted by Milvo. Hey all, Milvo here, and welcome to episode 15 of the Unearthed Man podcast. We're doing something different tonight, or today in relation to the podcast. I've just come off the back of running an 8-week program for 3 absolutely beautiful men. The program is all about helping them to enable to discover the person they truly are. It's about assisting men in understanding that they are already complete. So removing all the masks and looking to remove all the barriers that sits around them. It's also a means to help men learn it's okay to be vulnerable, to have an open mind, and importantly, an open heart. So the 3 wonderful men who joined me in relation to this program are Matthew Crowley Ferguson, Chris David, and Darren Belden. So gentlemen, welcome aboard to the Unearthed Man podcast.
Thanks, Milvo. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Darren. Crowley, how you going, buddy?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Milvo. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for being aboard. And Chris, you going well?
Oh, very well, Milvo, and thanks for having us.
That's right, mate. It's a super special event to be to have you men as guests on top of the podcast. And I must admit, this is the first for me because I normally do one-on-one interviews or roll out the podcast for myself. So to be able to share this podcast with you, but for you to say thanks to come on board, I really appreciate. So thanks a lot, men, and let's see how we go. Have a bit of fun. So I'm just going to go around the table. This is our last, what would have been our last for those listeners. This is the last night of our program. And so the men kindly agreed to jump on board and have our last get-together as the actual interview for the podcast. So we're going to work our way through that. So there's a group of questions that I'll ask the men as we go around the table. And this is them coming back from being very open and honest about what's going on, and it'll give you an insight into the journey that we can go on as men as we go through these programs. So probably the first question I'm going to kick off to all the men, and I'll start with you, Crowley, is why did you decide to do the program?
Well, I guess I wanted to sort of test myself in a sense and get my mind in the right headspace. Had some recent battles where my mental health had sort of deteriorated quite badly. So I guess the opportunity to probably get some self-value back for myself. And the old saying that you can't love others until you love yourself. So I guess that was the major thing for me, is to be in a really happy headspace and sort of move forward and not look back so much.
Yeah, excellent, man. Thanks for that. And certainly we saw you grow as we went through on the program. So thanks. Darren, what made you decide to jump on the program, buddy?
Yeah, Milvo, for me, it was, I guess, overall, it was wanting to improve on myself as a person and become a better version of myself. A number of the things that you'd mentioned that we'd cover in this course, I'd heard sort of snippets about, in years gone by, or, heard the concepts of, sort of being vulnerable and that type of thing, really opening your mind and, sort of focusing on energies and things like that. And I was interested in them, and without knowing too much about them, and the opportunity to explore them in some more detail really grabbed me. And I thought it was a great opportunity, given the environment that we're in at the moment, to focus on some self-development and explore some of those elements in some details. I really enjoyed learning more about those and trying to apply them to my life.
Yeah, excellent. And it's interesting how the universe sort of provides opportunities for us. We could see what's taken place in 2020 as a down, and it has been for a lot of people, but the ability to actually spend some time looking at ourselves and reflecting is, I think it's run true for all of us. So thanks, Darren. And Chris.
Thanks, Milvo. For me, it's always been a quest of learning, whether it's professional or personal. And when I saw this opportunity to learn something more about my personal self, my masks, my vulnerabilities, I've known you for a while, and the hard man you are at work and how you transform yourself. It's been really inspiring. So yeah, I actually jumped on board not knowing what's in it for me. As every week progress, the amount of things I've learned, not only about myself, but also everyone else in this program, it's been unreal. I've been so humbled to know you guys, share information. So this program itself has given me not only the opportunity to know myself as a person, as a man, but also to know when to let my guard down. Also, have that emotions, have that vulnerabilities, overwhelmingness, to share that with my fellow men.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And the one key thing that I wanted to achieve in setting up the program was to actually create a safe space for men where they could feel they could turn up, on the Monday night, share deep items about each other, and knowing that what we spoke about stayed here, but we also had the support and and the brothership and the comradeship that came on with. I think relearning how to retrust men and know that we can actually put our faith and trust in men, and that they're going to hold us true, and that they're going to hold us up and be that level of support. And I got that from each of you, as we went through, because as we've discussed, sometimes I've learned as much about myself along this journey, given that this is the first full program I've actually run. On how I go about and how I react and how I go things. So, thanks, Ben, for jumping in. That's really actually meant a lot to me on the way through. So we might go back in reverse order. So, Chris, so I know why you decided, but so what were you actually really looking to achieve? What was maybe the one thing that you thought, if I jump on board into this program, that this is something I'm looking to achieve over the 8 weeks?
For me, it was more to do with how my relationship with my family, my wife, my son, my extended family, my parents, my daughter, how to be more open with them, how to, it's always, we've been men, always have that brave front. And sometimes we tend to, hide our emotions. But for me, what this gave me the opportunity was that, I can be the person who I am, and talk to the people especially my close network, family and friends, so what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. So for me, it was that was the main thing, being able to to be myself, and also understand what others are going through, my family and my network.
Okay. Cheers. Thanks, man. Chloe, yourself, what were you looking to fully achieve out of this program?
I guess rediscover myself. I guess, if I was to put it in a short term, to really get my confidence back, to be proud of who I am, and to improve, and just to be better, both mentally, physically, spiritually, all those important areas of life. And I feel like I've progressed massively over such a short period of time. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. And Darren, yourself, what's the one thing that you're looking to achieve that you set the goal for?
For me, Milvo, it was similar to Chris. I wanted to sort of bring my relationships into this program. So I think first and foremost, it was learning more about myself and the way in which I'm conditioned and the way in which I show up in my different relationships, be them family, friends, colleagues, and so forth. And then once I know more about myself, I can make sure, I can improve and make sure that I'm turning up in the most effective way in each of those relationships, the majority of the time. So it was trying to focus on improvement in that area.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, man. So we're now pretty much 8 weeks down the track from where we got through. So might start back with you, Darren. Seems like you finished off on any real key learnings. I mean, we went through 8 different exercises as we went through. They all built on top of each other. So from that over the 8 weeks, were there like key learnings or key takeaways that you now got that you think you can start to build into your life as you move forward?
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple that really resonated with me, Milvo. Probably first and foremost, the love languages really hit home for me. So that was understanding the way in which people look at receiving love to them, and also the way they provide love and or give it out externally as well, and the variance on those. And they are quite varied, but in the end, they all equal love to that person. So that was really interesting for me. The other thing that really we focused on and sort of really opened my eyes up was the just reflecting on the years of conditioning that we have all had through our upbringing, through our childhood, and then in adulthood, and some of that might be from family, some with friends, and then externally from the media and so forth. Just all those different inputs and how they condition us to be the way that we are, and really sort of understanding and reflecting on that. I found that really interesting as well, being able to focus on and look at some improvements in that space.
Okay. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for that. And I think the intent of the program was to throw some curveballs at you guys along the way to hopefully open up, that part of the aim was open the mind, open the heart, try to see things from maybe a different perspective that you may never been challenged to look at before. So, yeah. Crowy, yourself, then what are some of the, your key learnings, or what are some of the things that you feel that you're going to take away from some of the things we've done over the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, the breathing, definitely. That's been, real calming influence on me. And just to be able to, handle stressful moments and to breathe it out and just sort of come to a mental state where you feel like you're in a solution stage, not, in the woe me sort of stage where you're concerned about the problem and you probably don't think rationally about how to solve it. So, the breathing's been fantastic. Contacting friends and family in regards to, I guess, the way can be better for them. So I found that quite emotional and quite quite uplifting in the same way. And the other part too is giving thanks to those people that have been been huge influence on my life, and that was really emotional as well. So I think both of those calls were a real shining light for me over this 8-week period, and in reality probably a shining light since we've been in in lockdown since the COVID sort of happened. So, and the other and probably the final one, there is many, but probably the other big one for me was the king energy about actually being that strong man that I can be, and to really come out and show that side of myself, which I know it's there, but I've been reluctant to show it. And I think that's going to hold me in great stead going forward now, to really go from that approach. I've always been a person who's looked to please others, but I can still do that. But I think it's important to get the best out of situations from my point of view as well, without trying to manipulate people. It's just about really just showing your strength. I think the king energy is definitely a big one for me going forward.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think you've touched on a couple of things in there, Crowy. For those listening, I think across the 8 weeks we did nearly six different styles of breathing techniques, just so, as we all know, we learn from when we're young. The first thing we do when we come out and we're born is that we take that first big gasp, and there's a bit of crying and screaming, but we learn to breathe. But then over a period of time, we lose that normal state of breathing, and we forget how much we can control our emotions in relation to anxiety or other things just by purely being able to go through a nice breathing exercise. So, thanks for that, Crowe. And I think the other thing that you touched on was, that king energy, and it's about, you're right, it's not about being manipulative. It's actually about just setting a boundary and knowing where that boundary actually sits, and so that you can, rather than people pleasing all the time, you can actually know where to say, no, I'm not going to do that today because I've got my own stuff to do, and be able to hold true to some of those boundaries. So, yeah, it's great that you've picked up on some of those elements. Thanks, Crowe. And Chris?
Yeah, Milvo, you mentioned curveball, and I did get a curveball from you. This is when I had to speak to my cousin about religion. So it was I wouldn't have done it any other way. Just that I was on the phone for more than 30 minutes with her, just catch and release. As one of the African, I'm very much an atheist. Just to listen to her explaining how her faith cured her cancer, and also I guess what I learned from that week's learning was just to understand the other's perspective of things. So catch and release, that is a big part that I was able to. I think if I can apply that to different aspects of my life, my journey, that'll help a lot, instead of trying to have my own way of things and do things the way, just because others believe something, I shouldn't be. That there are times we can challenge, there are times you just got to let it go to the keeper. The other one is about feedback. It's good to speak to a few of my friends who have known me for a while, just to get feedback, see what I'm doing well, what can I improve, and so on. And also, it's not often I thank my parents for how they brought me up, what their influence has been on me. That has been really good, positive. Also, what's something I noticed over the last, and not only me, my wife's noticed it as well, the amount of affection, and also the amount of the way I listen and not talk back or provide answers to her, or any other things that happen at home. It's just the transformation of how I was and how I am now over the last 8 weeks. It's been not, I've noticed it, others have noticed it as well. So it's been good. So.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that, mate. And for those that are listening in, Chris mentioned a catch and release, and it's a simple technique, which is often when someone says something that triggers us, or we have an emotional reaction to. The first thing we do is pretty much jump straight on top of them and start to put up our opinion and put our point forward. Whereas the catch and release method is, as soon as you start to feel that emotion bubbling up from your stomach, you actually just stop, move your posture, just take 2 or 3 nice calming breaths, and actually spend time to think about, why am I feeling emotionally, what's coming up with me, but also then learn how to actually stop, and rather than reacting to the other person, move more into an inquiry state and start to try to understand where they're coming from. And then from that, you can actually sit there and just go, right, what's happening here? Why am I reacting this way? Where are they trying to come from? And then you ask the key question about, what would love do? And when you start to drop more down into heart and think about what would love do, you do move less judgmental and more into an inquiry space. And these 3 men have, it's a technique that they've picked up along the way. And, as we've had our weekly conversations, I know at different points of time, they've been able to use that, and to a degree, it doesn't mean that we're suppressing our emotions. And that's the key thing about it. It's actually about just acknowledging that the emotion's there, and rather than just being very reactive and firing off the handle where a lot of arguments happen, it's just a bit about taking time to go, maybe I've got some of my own opinions or thoughts here that may or may not be right, or I may have a different alternative view, but maybe I need to listen to this person first and understand what's going on. So that's really about the catch and release. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Chris. That's cool. Just out of interest, because I know I've done many self-development programs before, or business-related development programs. Darren, any thoughts on on a comparison of this style of program that you've been through compared to other self-development or professional programs that you've done?
So my comparison point would be ones that I've done with work. And I think what sets this apart, Milvo, is that I think even if it's a self-development course at work, it's quite easy to still have a bit of a front on, at work and not be completely vulnerable, because you're still sort of upholding that, that image, professionalism, and all of that comes with it. And I think what I found particularly useful with this program was that, I think you guys mentioned it before, it's a safe place. It's the four of us. What's said in here, remains confidential, and that really enabled all of us, including myself, to really open up and talk about things that we might not have talked to anyone about, in the past. So that's what I found the additional benefit, of that. And the small group has been particularly useful to get to know people on a better level.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Crow, yourself?
I think probably the difference I've found from the personal development with from a professional point of view is that this sort of goes deeper into your psyche, your emotions, and it's almost like giving you the opportunity to find yourself. And from a professional point of view, I think a lot of those development ones really try to put people into a certain little box and sort of, you need to follow this and you need to do this and you need, sort of really a step-by-step sort of thing. Whereas the great thing about this program is that it can help so many different types of people with so many different, areas for improvement, different emotional states, different, different lifestyles. It's really flexible to help the person with whatever the help they need. So I think that's sets it apart from the ones that I've done, professionally.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks. Chris.
If I had to compare, I'll one of the subjects in my MBA was leading people and organizations. There, it was, even though it's more professional, it's also to do with having emotional intelligence, EQ as well as IQ. So that in that module we learn about how we become better leader, better people person, better in order to understand what's happening in a workplace. If I had to compare that to what we did here, is we learn about other people's emotions, we learn about trust. I mean, there are things that we discussed here, things we learned about others. We all gone through pretty much similar things. So how I could change myself or change my attitude or change what I've been doing in the past to make, learn from what's been discussed. I mean, those you don't learn in professional development courses or training sessions, but this has given me the opportunity to actually talk, discuss my personal life, and also listen to what you guys had to say. And that's a bond, that's a camaraderie that we will have for a long time. I mean, not only that, we also had an ethic where we need to start on time, and some of us didn't. so it's also setting certain boundaries and also making sure that we all are accountable and we we have that trust among each other. So that's the comparison that I can give. In a professional sense, you learn certain things. Here you're learning more about how your emotions I mean, that whole thing about vulnerability and how you work, how it relates to pretty much everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So one of the ones that Chris touched on there, that there's a level of accountability that we all held each other to, and we set a vice, something that we either wanted to give up or something we wanted to do. So, and then if we didn't meet that vice, then we had to actually, all do something that was nominated by the other men. For my vice, and I'm happy to put it out there, was I decided that I'd been avoiding this concept of a cold shower for a long period of time. So I put it out there to the men that I would take a cold shower every day, which was going to be effectively for 49 days, which pretty much led us up to yesterday. And I did that. So every single day took the cold shower. If I didn't do that, I had to effectively, I think, dance with my top off in a live on Facebook, which wouldn't have done anybody any good, including myself. I've got limited friends on Facebook to start with. I probably would have cleaned them all out by then, I reckon. But the other aspect of that is that it's now a part of my life. So the accountability I've had with these three men is actually now part of my life. I get up and having a cold shower is something that I will now do every single day, because the benefits that I'm getting out of it and the mental capability I know of being able to overcome whatever fear that was. And even when you shower, to the point where, the 2 minutes is 2 minutes, and I probably even go longer now, and I sort of get out because I need to. And that's what I loved about each of the men here, is that, you challenge yourself to move in an area of fear. Get yourself an accountability buddy to make it happen, and then from there we all move forward. So, to these wonderful men, I've now got a brand new routine in my life, and I'm actually now, funny enough, enjoying a cold shower as opposed to dreading the cold shower. It doesn't make me get out of bed any easier, but the cold shower is quite fine. So 8 weeks is a long period of time, and we might have covered over this a little bit, but is there, as you went through each of the different exercises, or as you went through there, was there one point in time where there was just one aha moment, one where like a whole penny dropped for you about something that you'd previously been doing in your life, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, aha, that's right, that's what I can now do? Maybe drop to you first, Crowie, to see whether there's an item of, an aha moment for you.
I guess with the, and touched on it a little bit earlier, the people pleasing side of things, to actually prioritize myself, and to be confident enough to know that I am a caring person, and if I do say no to someone because I have another priority, it's, I'm not being unkind. I'm just I'm just being true to myself. So I think that was a big one for me, because I've tended to be the one, someone asks for something, I'll just drop everything and do it for them, regardless of the situation that I'm in. So I think that one was a massive one for me.
Yeah, excellent. Chris?
Right from the start, I think one of the things that was the setting up the device, when I decided not to watch any pornography. And not that I watch it all the time, but I get videos sent to me, and but I made a decision as to not to watch it anymore. And it's been 8 weeks, like more than 8 weeks. I'm not watched or not been tempted to even open anything that's come through. And I inform my mate who is to send it out, and they don't send it anymore. So. And it's just knowing that there are things that you can control, and if you set your mind, you can do it. So that's one of the things I could think of.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I mean, I think that touches on, without going into, similar to what Crowley's talked about the king energy, but also the not being a people pleaser and setting the boundaries. Often we'll accept them because we want to be part of the team, we want to be one of the boys, and we want to do those sorts of things, but there's respect now coming from, I I'm sure, Chris, that you still hang out with those guys and so you still connect with them, you know, in the club you're in, but now they just know the boundaries been set and that's something you're not into anymore and they can send it off to their other mates, but maybe they're all the other mates that need to come on the program as well and we'll be able to work with all of them at the same time. But, you know, but yeah, that's the whole thing about that, you know, just seeing that boundary and doing something that's true to you. So thanks, mate. And Darren?
Yeah, for me, Milvo, it was the breathing exercises that we do, and really it just sort of dawned on me how powerful breathing can be, and you know the effect that it can have on yourself and the way you behave and your emotions. So whether it be the exercises that we do at the start of every session or some of the homework that we did around using breathing with triggers and related to the king energy, and it came out in so many different facets of what we did. And for me, that was like, wow, that's really, really cool because it's something breathing you don't even really think about. Well, I certainly didn't prior to this program. It's something, as you said, that we've done since we were born. It's just a natural thing we do, and the fact that we can really leverage it to be a more conscious person is really amazing and something that I'm really going to take away with me.
Yeah, cool, awesome. You could probably all drop yourself off mute at the moment if you wanted to for the next question. We'll do this as a bit of a joint question, and maybe the answer would be fairly obvious, but the funniest moment, gentlemen, that we had whilst doing this program. Anyone want to talk to what we felt was the funniest moment?
For me, it was trying to do a video of my all the single ladies. It was nerve-wracking at the start to begin with, but then it was funny. I had fun, and my wife had fun. It was that was a moment.
Yeah, I'll second that as well. That was the funniest moment, and I spent about probably 10 minutes trying to get the volume to work, thinking it was an error on my side, but actually it was on yours. So you were really lip syncing it. But, we couldn't hear. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
Are we in unison?
Yeah, absolutely. That was by far the funniest part. So one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. It just done it so well, Chris. It was it was fantastic. So.
Always a joker.
One of the energy spaces is to playing the joker. To put that in context, we set a rule at the start to say, we had our call at 8 o'clock every Monday night. And if you were late, then as a combined group, we got to choose what that person had to actually do. So Chris dialed in about 2 minutes past 8 one night. So many people wouldn't think that's late, but 8 o'clock was the timeline. So Chris had to do a video of him singing to a song of our choice, which was Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. Facebook beautifully blocked the audio, which is a pity, but we certainly got to see the new dance moves off the young Chris. So it's, I think he had 300 views, and I think between all of us we had 100 each.
Very true.
So, all right, man. So where do you see, just a quick one now, where do you see next for you? So you've come along this path, what happens for you now? Darren, where are you heading now with this?
Yeah, so for me, Milvo, I've really enjoyed all of the program, but in particular, I've really enjoyed learning about the different energies, sort of the masculine energies. So, and I know we've covered those within the program, but I want to understand them in some more detail. So I'm going to read a number of books, to continue on this journey. But I'm going to kick off with the King, Warrior, Magician, the Lover, to understand those 4 different aspects of energy in some more detail and continue to develop in that way. So that plus some other books that you've recommended, I'll be looking to continue reading and learning. In addition to that, I'm going to continue with a focus on gratitude, which is one of the things that I've done the whole way through. sort of every day and noting down 3 things that I'm grateful for. So I'm going to continue, doing that, focusing, internally, things that I'm grateful for that are around me then, but also learn externally as well by podcasts and documentaries and so forth to really, to broaden my horizons. And with that, the concept of having an open mind and open heart.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Sounds like an epic journey, and I'm keen to stay in touch so we can sort of just watch as you continue to grow into who you are. Crowy?
I guess the program sort of gave me the confidence to start my own business, which is something that I'd always wanted to do, but had been fearful of.
What's it called, Crowy?
Yeah, definitely this program. Local sports stats. So it's really gave me just that little kick along I needed. I just needed that little push, and this program certainly gave it to me. And it's just I think I'll always look back at this program being just opening a door that I needed to open. So I feel like that's been a big part of it. There's so much from this that I'll continue to do. The breathing, the one of the other big things too is not judging people with different views. I think that was a big thing for me in terms of alternate views and just getting an understanding of where the person's coming from. You might not agree with them, but I think if you get an understanding of where their heart is and why they feel that way, then I think it makes you a better person and a more rounded person. I think, and I feel like I am more rounded now that I can look at things that I think I might have said a batshit crazy, program, but now I can see how people can come to that conclusion. It doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with them, but I respect the place that they're coming from. So, yeah, that's another big one for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And that's it becomes a less conflicting life when you go through and you spend more time in inquiry mode and just understanding and learning, because you learn as much about yourself, because sometimes that's our own limiting belief that's got us to that point in time. And knowledge and wisdom is actually about sometimes also learning the fact that we may be wrong and someone else actually there might be something that we learned from them that is right, and we can step into that space. So, yeah. And local sports stats, Crowley's your man. If you want any stats against football games anywhere in Australia, get in touch with Matt Crowley Ferguson. Get onto it. Chris?
Yeah, for me, week 1, maybe we start writing this letter, your future self. In that I highlighted a few things, especially my relationship with my wife, my daughter who lives with my ex-wife, and my parents. They all play a big part in my life, including my son who's about to start high school. How I show affection, emotions with my wife. That's changing as we go. It's not the for a mask in front of me. it's I think I mentioned this. I just want to be that person who, she's very affectionate, whereas I'm very, not so. But yeah, I'm working towards it, and hopefully it'll continue to grow. Some of the things that really touched base was with my dad and myself. Also, it was my dad's ex-military, so the way he brought us up is different to how I want to bring my children, son and daughter, spend more time with them, show affection. So everything that I've learned in this program is contributing to develop myself personally, and also make sure that I do the right thing.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that. And yeah, just before we probably look to wrap up this this podcast episode. Just one last question for you, man, is if there's other men who are contemplating, coming on this journey or looking to say, I'm a bit lost or I'm not sure what to do, in a sentence each, what's one thing that you would actually say to, to any man who's thinking about, I'm a bit lost, I want to go on a journey, or, think about doing a program like this, what would you actually say to them? Start with you, Chris.
So, yeah, I would say that if you need to dig deep into your soul and find out exactly where you need to make changes, understand about yourself, I think this program will definitely help. It certainly did for me. It's not only that, it's also the guys who are part of this. So Darren and Crowy and Milvo yourself were able to bring that in, that feelings out of me. So I was not afraid to share that with you. So I know that men, we always go into our cave and hide things. But this type of program is if someone who wants to actually talk to another man or talk to a group of men to share their emotions, it really helps. And thanks for that.
No, thanks, Chris. Darren?
Yeah, so my comment on that, Milvo, would be that if there's any men out there that are wanting to improve themselves, be a better version of themselves, this is the program to do it, to understand and explore things that you mightn't have heard of before, or certainly or understand much about, and it will help you become that better version for yourself, but also for the people in your life as well, that deal with you on a day-to-day basis, be it colleagues or loved ones. So there's real benefit in that, and it certainly challenges you. The concepts that you've, and the challenge, the exercises that you've given us, Milvo, have certainly been challenging to me. But that's what you need to do. Dig deep and look inside and be willing to talk about and confront some of those things that make you who you are. And by doing that, you'll only benefit.
Yeah, thanks, man. Crowley?
From my point of view, I think at the start it allows you to heal, and then as the program continues, you grow. So from anyone out there that is struggling and you are lost, I think this program is fantastic. To really get back to being the person that you want to be, and to be able to sort of look in the mirror and be proud of who you are, and to sort of get back to what your strengths are and improve, some of the things that you mightn't be as strong in. But I think the big part of this program is really honing in your strengths and valuing those strengths and making them work for yourself and for others. So I couldn't recommend it any more than that. It's just been a fantastic program.
Beautiful. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate that. So, man, I just want to finish off by saying thank you for who you are. You all signed into this journey. I think as I was saying, you can either open a door and it's up to others to step through, or you can take a horse to water and it's up to them to drink. All we made available to you three men was a program to help discover, what there is about yourself and where you wanted to go and how you wanted to grow. And each one of you, not only stepped through the door, but you actually jumped through the door. You took everything on board. You held each other to account. You held me to account. But you also held each other, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, in all those aspects, which was just, it was a pleasure to watch you come on this journey. Just good to be able to see as you came along, just this growth, and when you all started, there was masks that we all had, and I've just watched you just peel it off, and strip back, and the men that you always were just has shone out. So, thank you, men. I appreciate. I've loved the 8 weeks that we've been on. I wish you all the best for what's coming up, because the world's your oyster now, and you're going to be able to move on from there. So I'm going to sort of finish off, and so thank you, men. If you want to jump yourselves off mute. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the great journey, and I'm sure we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll continue to move forward from there.
Thanks, Milvo. Thanks for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Great to know some of the best blogs that I've been able to share some information with. Good luck to you guys too. If there's anything, feel free to ping me on Facebook. Thanks.
Much love to you three great men, and I only wish nothing but love and happiness for you guys going forward, and I'm sure you, as I am, are on the right track to get that. So, peace out, guys.
Likewise from me, guys. Really hope that we can catch up together in person at some point. It's been a great 8 weeks, so really enjoyed our Monday nights, and I'm sure we've all come out a lot better for it. So onwards and upwards.
Yeah, cheers, man. And yes, we are definitely getting together once we're all out of lockdown, and we can go from there. So that's a wrap for episode 15 of the Unearthed Man. As you just heard from the three most beautiful men that I've had a chance to deal with, Chris, Darren, and Crowe. Three men willing to just open their hearts and open their minds, and go on a beautiful journey. So, as always, if you're looking for me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. But for me for now, that's it from the Unearthed Man. Sending you much love and peace. Take care.